Hey everyone, I'm Jeremy Boren, GrayMatter's brand manager, and for our next session, I want to welcome James Alday from Orlando Utilities Commission. James, thanks for being with us today.
Thanks for having me.
To start things off, James, could you just tell everybody a little bit about what your role is at OUC and give us a sense of your day-to-day responsibilities and background there?
Sure. Well, again, my name is James Alday. I'm the SCADA coordinator for water production at OUC. I've been with OUC for about 4 years. I have a background in water and wastewater. I'm a dual licensed, dual A operator, and I have some IT level certifications. So basically, day to day, it's to make sure iFix is functional, make sure our networks are operational, keep everything patched, up to date, secure, just make sure all the things are working.
Cool. Well, thanks for being here today. James, what are some of the reasons that you and your team wanted to improve the way you view and share data about the water and wastewater facility operations there in Orlando?
Well, of course, everything now is basically on SCADA. All of our operators are running our plants on SCADA. So data is very important to us. We centrally manage everything here. So if we need outside sources, say managers or any upper management to view our data, it's very important to have a method of allowing them to view that information without having complete control over our systems. So that's kind of where OpsHub came in for us. Previously, we were using Portal to establish that, but Portal, as we know, has kind of been outdated, and this was our replacement.
So how long have you been using OpsHub at this point?
So we're always looking for the latest and greatest technology. So we were pretty early adopters of OpsHub. Pretty much as soon as it came out, we grabbed it and have been kind of working ever since, building up on it.
Cool. Well, I know you have some screens to share, and we can get into the details on those. So I just wanted to ask, what are some of the benefits of viewing? You mentioned iFix, variable screen data in OpsHub, and maybe some examples of what you're using most often or your management is looking at most often.
So the biggest benefit for us was, again, allowing our director to view our data without giving him control over the facilities. So it's great, that he can have this running in his office on his laptop. He can walk away from it, and we don't have to worry about security of somebody jumping in there and taking control. Or if there's an incident, he has to go to the ICC, Incident Command Center. He can view the data there. He can relay it to his superiors and basically see all of our data, again, without control. So it was a great addition for us.
That's cool. And so how is he viewing it? Is it tablets at this point? Is it laptop? Kind of how does that work?
So he does have a tablet, but it's it's one of those new all-in-ones with the removable keyboards. So yeah, right now he's wired in, and then he's also wired into our control center when it's required. But we do have the option to set this up on a tablet if he needs it.
Cool. Well, give us an idea of the scope. So how many facilities do you monitor, and how many variables are you looking at? And I know you did some of these screens yourself when building this OpsHub solution out.
So we have 8 facilities that we're monitoring. But yeah, I think it'd be best maybe to just show you guys some of the screenshots and show you the variables that we're looking at. Yeah, so
always great to see what we're working with,
Cool.
I think that's the magic of these webinars is that, you can actually get into some of the details. So
all right.
I can see your screen. So what are we looking at, James?
All right, cool. So this is basically our iFix variable screen. This is what our operators, one of the many screens that the operators are looking at daily. So this is showing all of our facilities here on the left-hand side, and basically all of the important kind of just a snapshot of all of our parameters as far as our pressure, how much water are we producing, how much water is being treated, what are our ground storage tanks or reservoir levels, and then what are all the chemical residuals for the water. So this is important because if there's anything that's out of a parameter, it's going to have a little red box that pops up. So the operators kind of at a glance can see how the entire system's doing, and then let us know where there's any issues where they need to dig in deeper to take a look at it. So this was kind of the main goal, to get this data over to our director so that he can just have this up on his desk. And if there's anything that pops up, he can, follow up with us or try to get some more information. So I can show you what we had.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is Portal. So Portal was, you can see there on the left of our system overview, was basically the same data. But in addition to that, he also had control, or he could view our generator, our power status. So if there was a hurricane or something, he can tell what the generators are doing. And then he can look at all of our chemicals to see, what is the current chemicals at the facilities. Is there anything that he needs to worry about? So this was the data that we needed to get into Operations Hub, because Portal was going away, and this is basically what I was trying to replicate. So I can show you guys kind of what we ended up doing. So this is Operations Hub. So you can see it looks very similar. If I go back to what we had before, here's iFix, here's Operations Hub. So I tried to make it look the same or as similar as I could. We have all the information there on the left, which facility we're looking at, and the same variables as far as, your pressures, our flows, our reservoirs, and our chemicals. We were also able to set up some alarming with little red boxes there. So that was really helpful. So he can have this set up in his office. He has no control of the plant. He can't really dig in any deeper, but he can see almost the same thing that the operators are seeing.
What kind of feedback have you gotten?
He loves it. It was great. I mean, it was really helpful that I was able to build this and make it look almost the same as before. The alarming was really beneficial. So on the side here, we can't see, but there's a menu where we can choose which page we want to look at. So right now we're on the variables page. So after he saw this, of course, he wanted more data. So I had to create a chemicals page. So here's basically the same thing, every facility with the option to look at, all the chemicals for those plants. So this is all, basically real-time data that he's receiving. I don't have any alarming set up on this one yet, but like everything else here, there's constant improvements and I can keep working.
Yeah.
There's also, there's also some trending data there on the left-hand side. I don't have a screenshot for that one, but he can look at some custom trends.
To look at it over a specified amount of time.
Yeah, exactly. There's a little link here.
And those look like they're kind of relational gauges so that kind of at a glance where you are in relation to where you should be or shouldn't be. Is that kind of the idea here?
Exactly. Yeah. So it's showing, what is the total amount and kind of where we are. So we're halfway full on these guys. If anything gets too low, So yeah. You guys are constantly improving the widgets. So I'm looking forward to, as soon as we get some widgets that maybe closely resemble these, that we can start plugging that data in. But, as you guys make improvements so far, it's been pretty easy to just plug that new widget in there and get things working.
Yeah, you were able to do some of this on your own, like right out of the box, right? And then I know you talked with us to fine tune some of it as well.
I was, yeah. So, I like to be hands-on. So at first, when this product came out, like I said, we were early adopters. So I jumped in there and did the best I could, maybe struggled a little bit, but it just took a quick phone call to you guys to kind of straighten me out. And we got things hooked up to the way we are today, working pretty good.
So you mentioned like being able to respond quickly. One example I think that I always hear in water, wastewater is during like an adverse weather event. Has that come up where, your director has wanted that info quickly, wanted to see, what the status of the system is and been able to get that?
Yeah, exactly. So that was kind of the goal of this. If there is an incident, which we haven't had any, luckily, in the last couple of years, but if there's a hurricane or a cyber event or something like that that requires our director to go, to the ICC Incident Command Center, he needs to have control over our environment. And we needed a secure way of doing that. I didn't want to have him set up in iFix and RDPN and all that stuff. So this was a great alternative. So he can just use a web browser, jump into our environment, get all the data he needs, and it's secure and it doesn't provide any control. He's not going to be able to get in and mess anything up accidentally.
For sure. I know you mentioned generators earlier, but do you see some ways of maybe expanding on the data visualization work that you've already done down the line?
I do. Yep. Luckily, he hasn't said anything yet, but that's, we're always looking to improve. And yes, I need to add my generators on here. There's always some more alarming. I can show you this next slide here. We're looking at the new iFix. So we just went through some upgrades in our iFix and high performance graphics, and we changed basically everything in our environment to be high performance. So this was the same variable screen, but we added some charts, some little widgets here on, next to all the variables to show where we are in our alarms. This is still kind of a work in progress, but when our director saw this, he was like, hey, all that work you did in OpsHub, can you redo it and make it look like this? So I was like, sure, let me see what I can do. So here's what we did in OpsHub. It's the same thing, but it's really convenient to go in and just change your color schemes quickly. So I was able to go in and kind of change your colors to make everything look almost like the new graphics that we built. So he's really happy with that as well.
Yeah, and especially with the alarm state stuff, like I know exactly where to look, as
Yeah,
opposed to maybe on some of the other screens, not quite as quickly focusing in on where I might need to be.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So how has it been working with GrayMatter on the project? And for others who are watching today, what would you recommend for somebody who's thinking about going down the same path?
I would say Ops Hub is really quick and simple to set up. I had things up and running in a day from when we downloaded it. The data was pretty easy to link and get things set up. It was a little challenging at first. Like I said, I struggled to get things to work the way I wanted it to. It's a little different from iFix because this is all web based. So there's a little bit of HTML stuff in there. So basically, after reaching out to you guys, you showed me how you can quickly drag and drop and get things set up easier than the ways I was attempting to set them up. And ever since then, it's been really, really quick and easy. Once you guys set me down the right path, I think I had things set up in another day or two, and we were good to go.
Awesome. Well, James, thanks for sharing these visuals today and just taking us through, how you got set up with Ops Hub and how it's working for you at Orlando Utilities Commission. I appreciate the time.
Absolutely. Thank you.